Alright, what's going on YouTube? Miguel here, and sitting right behind me is my 1998 Mustang GT. So last week I made a video of 5 things I love about my Mustang. I'm not gonna lie, that video was kind of hard to make, but this week's video was actually super easy. Don't get me wrong, I do love this car. We've had our ups and our downs, probably a lot more downs than we've had ups. At the end of the day, there are still just a couple minor things I would change about this car, and a couple minor things I hate about this car. This right here is 5 things I hate about my 1988 Mustang GT. Let's get into it.
It's all like a young Santana, rapping VT like my name Bernie Sanders, living two lives like my name Danny Phantom.
At number 5, we got the stock ride height. This is true for all S95s, not just mine in particular. The stock ride height on these, okay? So when I started Project Pony, one of the first things I said I was gonna do on this car was lower it. In my opinion, these cars have like one of the worst stances from factory that you can get on pretty much like any car ever. I'm talking about monster truck stance. If you go back and watch that video I did where I lowered my car, you can just see like the before and after. It was bad. Not only were these cars like super high up, but like the fitment on the tires was just absolutely terrible. On the rear tires, they're tucked in for some reason, and it looked terrible. It didn't line up with the fender like how I wanted it, but you know, I went ahead and fixed that. I threw on some lowering springs, I got some spacers for the back, and now the ride height might not be, you know, perfect, but it looks amazing. Number 4, this car, you either love it or you hate it. The generation before this, the Fox body is, you know, one of the most iconic Mustangs ever, in my opinion. It's something with the OG Mustangs in terms of all the love that the Fox body Mustang gets. The Fox body got replaced by this thing. And you know, like I said, a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, and in my opinion, I feel like it gets more hate than it does love. I talked about this in my last video. But how are you gonna go from like an iconic Fox body look to a car like this? You know, it was a really drastic change from, you know, that square Fox body shape to a more like rounded off, kind of just like more 90s-esque feel to this car. And you know, a lot of people didn't really like that, which is why the S95, or at least, you know, this iteration of it only lasted from about 94 to 98, where they're like, you know what, we're gonna replace it, we're gonna refresh it, and they ended up coming out with the New Edge. And the New Edge, again, is, in my opinion, one of the most beloved cars out there. That's the Mustang I grew up with. Don't get me wrong, I love this car, but if I could trade it for a New Edge in this exact same color, I would probably already done it by now. And number 3, the condition you find these cars in. These cars are about 25 to 30 years old now, or just about there. So these cars are about 25 to 30 years old, or just about, and you know, with the cars being that old, you're not going to find one in, you know, pretty solid condition, and if you do, you're probably going to pay a lot for it. This car was no exception. It used to belong to my uncle. He parked it, forgot about it until I came along, and it was in pretty rough shape when I first got it. Paint was peeling, the transmission was messed up, the interior, it wasn't bad, but it's still not the best. You know, I've done some shopping online, not only for other S95s, more specifically, you know, a S95 Cobra, but also a New Edge. It's pretty hard to find one in decent condition. All of them have a myriad of issues. You know, they got paint peeling, they need a new engine, the interior is just all torn up and looks disgusting. So even though these are a dime a dozen, finding one in solid condition is pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie, and trust me, I know, I'm still looking for my New Edge. And number 2, the interior. Okay, when I say this thing is nothing but plastic, I really do mean it. There's just plastic absolutely everywhere in this. The door panels are plastic, the dash is plastic, the center console, your glove box is plastic, it's all plastic. In here, you know, just nothing but plastic everywhere. Plastic doors, plastic, more plastic. The center console is plastic. Everything in here is plastic. My trim, the one I got, is a GT, but it's a base model GT, so I actually don't have leather interior in this, at least not yet. Project Pony coming to a YouTube real soon. Not only do I have these ugly gray cloth seats, but I also have this ugly two-tone, half black, half charcoal, half gray interior, and I absolutely hate it. Y'all stay tuned, Project Pony, we're gonna be fixing that real soon. I have a full black interior swap coming soon. I don't have any of the parts yet. Like I said, just wait on it. And before we get into number 1, I have a couple honorable mentions I have to mention. I actually have a lot, and I compiled this list right here with the help of some other people. You know, let's go over it real quick. All right, it doesn't start every single time. Car doesn't start, so I have to carry, you know, good old battery charger in here. That's partially my fault. I don't drive this car enough as I should, but that's probably because, you know, it's not registered or anything like that, which I need to get on, because 2023 we're going to be driving this a whole lot more. This is actually going to be my daily. On the fact that it doesn't start, I feel like it probably has a short somewhere because I bought like 3 or 4 batteries now for this. I say bought, but they were all under warranty, so I'm not really tripping about that. All right, so y'all see this, right? Again, you know, my cluster still doesn't work. That's probably because of the short. I feel like at this point, this thing is a money pit, and I'm so deep into this project that I feel like I have to finish it now just because of all the money that went into this that I'm never going to see again. But it's okay because, you know, I have fun every time I drive this, and that's really all that matters. This doesn't come from me. This comes from, you know, my sisters. I was originally going to start with this project again in 2020, but, you know, with the whole pandemic happened and, you know, that kind of got put on the back burner. We started the car back up, and then we took a little ride in it, and my sister said my seats were itchy. I don't know. I've been in this car. I don't really see it, but they told me to throw this on there, so I threw it on there. This thing breaks in the worst possible moments, okay? Imagine this. You're hanging out with a girl you like for the first time ever outside at work. You know, you're cruising along, everything is going fine, and then smoke starts coming out of your engine, and you're just looking at her like, I don't know what happened. This has never happened to me before. I don't know what's going on. Now imagine, you know, you get out of your last class of the day. You know, it's 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. You got to get to work at 5 o'clock. Everything's going fine. You're driving home. You pull up at a light, and then your car just turns off and then won't turn back on. That also happened to me. You know what else happened to me? I was coming back from watching a movie again with this girl. You know, a car zoomed past me, and I was like, damn, I think he wants to race. So I hit the gas a little bit, and then my car went nowhere. All you hear was a really loud boom, and you know what that boom was? That boom was a piston hitting the top of my hood, or at least that's what it sounded like. Yeah, basically my engine blew up one time. You know, that was fun. You know, I had to go ahead and replace that, spend a lot more money on this. I touched on this before. This car used to overheat, and you know, that's an issue I had to fix. Short people can't drive this. I've had my sisters, you know, try to drive this. They're both about like 5 foot nothing. They can't see over the hood. They can barely see over the steering wheel, and yeah, so this is partially my fault now because, like I said, I did lower this, but this car scrapes on absolutely everything now. The other day I drove it for the first time in about like a month. I forgot how low it was. My driveway is actually like on a slope, like this little slope to get back onto like the actual street. I scraped the absolute crap out of this thing backing up out of my driveway because I forgot how low my exhaust hangs now, and that's another thing I hate. I hate how low the exhaust hangs because now, like I said, it scrapes on everything. I know this is an honorable mention, but if I could put this at number 1, I would definitely put it at number 1, the racing stripes. I don't know why we painted those on there. They're not even black. They're like a dark red, like a maroon color. I hate them. I'm going to replace them real soon. Speaking of ugly ass paint off of it, the paint on this. I got a paint job like back in 2016 when I first got the car. I don't know what happened. Maybe because I didn't drive this for like about 2 years after I got my race car. The paint is already peeling, like right here, back there, the quarter panels. It's already peeling, and I have to pay for another paint job. Okay, the radio. We got new subs and a new aftermarket radio. I probably need an EQ because it sounds kind of rough. It's not the best. The bass hits though. I hate that the back seat is really small. I know it's a Mustang and it doesn't really have a back seat, but it's really cramped back there, especially when you get 2 people. Don't ask me how I found that out. There's not a lot of room back here. I'm 5'7" and my head is pretty much like touching the glass up here. Now imagine you have 2 people back here for whatever it is you do in the backseat of cars. It's cramped. There's not a lot of room. I hate it. The air conditioning, you know, right now during the winter time, it's brick outside. The heater slaps. So throw that on, and in about like 10 minutes or so, I'm in my car sweating. But during the summer, you know, I live out here in Texas. It gets like 100 degrees outside. Driving this with no AC, I don't recommend it to anybody, like ever. I hate the tint we got on here. Another thing I have to replace. Don't get me wrong, it's not a fishbowl anymore. It's a fishbowl with tint now. You can still kind of see me inside. It's not as dark as I wanted. I want 5% all the way around like on my other car. Might even go get some tint on the windshield like I do on my other car. I don't know yet. Again, another thing I have to redo. It's a fishbowl, bro. Like people can still see me in here. They can. It's not dark enough. See that little strip like right about there? The guy that did my tint didn't even like go all the way up on that back window. Ford cars have these like little like textured little. I'll show you guys. A lot of these Ford cars have these like little texture bits like right here, just little dots on the front windshield and that back window. For some reason, the guy that did my tint, he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that little section right there, so he just left it like that. What the fuck? Why? Just why? At that point, just don't do it. Just why? I hate the fact that my uncle / my uncle's baby mama crashes, so now it has like a dent somewhere on that side. It has no airbags. That's another thing I had to fix, thanks to him. Shout out my uncle. I wasn't lying about my uncle crashing it. See, airbag is on because I don't have an airbag. That's another reason I don't drive this, because, you know, that's kind of dangerous. And the last thing on my honorable mentions list, it does have a little bit of rust. Honestly, I don't know if I can fix that. I don't even know how to fix that, or if that's even fixable or not. Yeah, another thing I hate. And then the number one thing I absolutely hate about this car is the 4.6 liter V8 engine. So the Fox body had a 5.0, and then eventually the S197 brought back the 5.0. For some reason, they put a 4.6 V8 in this thing. I don't know why they couldn't just round that up, you know, 4.6 to a 5.0. In my opinion, the whole reason this thing doesn't get the love it deserves is because of the engine itself. You know, it's not the craziest engine. I want to say about 225 horsepower, which back in the 90s, you know, that was decent at the time. But nowadays, this thing gets absolutely walked by regular traffic. You know, my cousin, she has a Honda Accord. I can guarantee you she can probably dust me in this. So in my opinion, in my personal experience, this engine is not the most reliable. I'm actually on my second engine. Like I said, the first one blew up, might have been my fault. Not only is it not reliable, at least in my experience, it's slow, bro. Like, it's a Mustang. I'm supposed to go fast in this, but I can't do that if I'm only making 225 horsepower. So that's gonna be it for this video. Again, this is all just jokes. I do love this car, but I love it sometimes, you know, like when it's actually running and when it's actually, you know, when it actually starts. Now, of all the things I listed on here, a lot of those things are going to get fixed in the coming year, 2023. I got big moves coming. I got a lot of expensive moves coming. So stay tuned for that. Again, Project Pony should be back next Monday. But with that being said, drop a like, comment down below. What do you hate about this? And subscribe, because I make Mustang videos every Monday.